Muffler Man on Michigan Avenue is under new ownership and wants to be your full-service auto repair center. We're not just mufflers anymore. Our crew has the training and experience to handle all of your auto repair needs. Stop in today for a free inspection.
There are millions of them. Deep, wide, rocky, wet. They can be lethal to your tires, wheels, shocks and struts, even your good mood. We're talking about potholes. They seem to be everywhere, ready to punish the next unsuspecting driver and potentially damage important vehicle components.
Sometimes it feels like I just drove off a cliff.
I wince every time I hit one. They're horrible this year.
Potholes are bad for anyone who enjoys a comfortable, controlled ride, but they're even worse for our cars. You've got thousands of pounds of mechanical force suddenly hitting your suspension. This can damage important parts like shocks and struts, which help contribute to safe steering, stopping, and stability. So the next time you hit, or even somehow avoid, a cavernous pothole, think about how much abuse your car has absorbed over the past several months. And remember that your shocks and struts help you avoid accidents, not to mention additional potholes by making precise last-second evasive maneuvers. So visit your automotive service provider soon for a thorough inspection of your steering and suspension system, because shocks and struts aren't just about keeping you comfortable. They can also play important roles in helping to keep you safe. You've probably heard about changing your oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, rotating your tires between 6,000 and 10,000 miles, and maybe even changing your wiper blades every 6 months. But when should you change your shocks and struts? In fact, did you even know they can wear out? Shocks and struts rank among your vehicle's most important safety components. They work in concert with your tires, brakes, and steering system to provide 3 critical handling characteristics: steering, stopping, and stability. These ride control units help absorb impacts while holding your tires against the road, and they perform this important job an average of 1,750 times per mile in all temperatures and driving conditions. So not surprisingly, they eventually wear out, losing their ability to aid in delivering the steering, stopping, and stability you need in many driving situations. If you're surprised that shocks and struts are so important to overall driving safety, you're not alone. That's one reason why automotive industry experts and the consumer-based Motorist Assurance Program recommend that worn shocks and struts be replaced at 50,000 miles of service. 50,000 miles. On the average vehicle, that represents some 87 million strokes of your shocks and struts caused by potholes and other challenging road conditions. So how can you be sure your vehicle's ride control system is still in good shape? If your vehicle has 50,000 miles or more, be sure to ask your service provider for a comprehensive safety triangle inspection. In fact, this important safety check should be performed at least every 12,000 miles or with each brake job, alignment, and tire purchase. So remember to follow your vehicle manufacturer's recommended oil change intervals and keep your tires, brakes, and wipers in good running order. And then, when that odometer clicks over 50,000 miles, it's time to think about new shocks and struts. Because frankly, there's nothing more important than keeping you safe.
These are the engineering miracles we adore. Of all the high-performance parts and high-tech computer modules in each of the finely tuned systems that allow us the freedom to practically fly, none is more important than the system that gives us the capability to stop. Brake fluid delivers the driver's intent to slow down or stop immediately to the brakes. This messenger between the master and its slave cylinders must be able to handle over 1,000 psi of pressure, resist freezing and boiling temperatures, and prevent rust, corrosion, and deterioration throughout the braking system. With ABS, the brake fluid's job gets even tougher. The computerized ABS is much more sensitive to changes in hydraulic brake fluid than the rest of the brake system. So it's no surprise that anything under this much pressure, often getting pushed to its boiling and freezing point, can begin to break down. Also, brake fluid is glycol-based and extremely hygroscopic as in thirsty for water, and that means it will absorb moisture from anywhere it can find it. When water is absorbed, the brake fluid is contaminated and ready to retire. With as little as 4% moisture, the brake fluid's wet boiling point can go below the federal DOT-3 limit. Once brake fluid boils, it no longer provides adequate lubrication and corrosion protection. By the time fluid has been in the system 3 years, it can easily deteriorate gradually enough that most drivers will barely notice the difference in their braking ability until they need it the most. This is why OEMs recommend brake fluid replacement after so many years or miles. The manufacturer's recommendations can be supported for the car owner by testing brake fluid for the lack of corrosion inhibitors. The cast iron, steel, aluminum, and brass components of the brake system are susceptible to rust and corrosion, and many of the pneumatic parts can deteriorate with old brake fluid. To ensure the highest performance, we recommend replacing the old worn-out fluid with premium-grade BG Products DOT-3 or DOT-4 brake fluid, as specified by the vehicle manufacturer. DOT-4 brake fluid has a higher wet boiling point than DOT-3, which means it can handle more moisture and provide a more effective flush. The BG Products DOT-4 brake fluid, with its heavy-duty high-temp formula, provides excellent rust and corrosion protection to both ABS and conventional braking systems.
Every year, automotive engineers design engines that must do more with less. Power is increased and emissions are lowered. These multi-valve, turbocharged, direct-injected, finely tuned engines achieve greater speed with less fuel from smaller, lighter, more efficient engines. At the same time, these high-tech power plants must meet strict governmental regulations for reduced emissions and increased MPG. Unfortunately, in the manufacturer's attempt to reduce tolerances and increase performance, engines have become increasingly susceptible to deposits. Even very small amounts of fuel residues on intake valves, ports, fuel injectors, and combustion chambers can quickly reduce the performance of close tolerance engines. The main systems of an engine affected by fuel deposits are not only in the fuel system, but also the air induction system. To help control noxious emissions in modern fuel-injected engines, exhaust gases and crankcase vapors are fed back into the air intake system. There, the gummy substances in those vapors form deposits in the air throttle body assembly and plenum. These deposits reduce airflow and damage the ratio between air and fuel, which is essential to efficient combustion. The slightest difference in the air-fuel mixture will cause the vehicle to compensate for the reduced airflow by altering the timing and the amount of fuel flow. In just 10,000 miles of driving, the idle can roughen, fuel economy can be reduced, and exhaust emissions go through the roof. The heavy ends of fuel further compromise the combustion process by leaving deposit buildup on valves, ports, injectors, and piston crowns. To put the amazing precision of fuel injection in perspective, consider the following. In the time necessary for one flap of a hummingbird's wings, about 15 milliseconds, an injector has pulsed 5 times. Even a minor detection of deposits can affect this precise timing. Scan tool diagnostics may indicate low or high readings in the fuel trim, and sensors will indicate air or fuel problems. This creates drivability problems, reduced horsepower, and increased emissions. The engine is most vulnerable to harmful deposits in what is known as the squish area, where the high point of the piston crown matches the cylinder head surface. On some engines, vertical clearances are barely 20/1000ths of an inch. The barest of deposits can impair combustion, reducing power and increasing emissions. BG's gasoline direct injection test vehicle showed deposit formation in as few as 10,000 miles of driving in a variety of city and highway conditions. By 30,000 miles, this engine lost 8 horsepower and 20 foot-pounds of torque due to carbon accumulation. Turbochargers, powered by exhaust gases, compress and atomize the air that enters the combustion chamber. The exact air and fuel mixture that is powered by a turbo is even more susceptible to carbon deposits. Diesel engines also experience carbon buildup in combustion chambers, the air plenum, and EGR. These symptoms often occur even sooner in diesel engines due to the higher density of diesel fuel. Drivers complain of hard starting, low MPG, and poor acceleration.
Now, but the results are in, and this new product that he tested, guess what? It worked. Here's his report.
Before we did any kind of testing, our Ford Explorer was giving us 17.9 miles to the gallon. Then we tried those gas pills, which seemed to backfire and gave us just 15.6 miles to the gallon.
BG Products Incorporated has designed specific services to target each of these fuel and air induction system problems. BG Air Intake System Cleaner will eliminate the problems associated with deposit buildup in engine plenum areas and injector ports. It is used with BG 1Q Via and a specialized air intake system cleaning toolkit, which atomizes BG's superior blend of chemistry for maximum cleaning performance. The results are noticeable. Airflow is restored, fuel economy increases, exhaust emissions decrease, and overall engine performance improves. BG Fuel Injection System Cleaner, used with the BG 1Q Via, will quickly clean the entire fuel injection system. This chemistry is specially formulated to remove baked-on deposits from fuel injectors, thus improving spray patterns needed for proper combustion. Customers will experience increased fuel economy and will appreciate the added power. Finally, BG 44K added to the fuel tank will quickly and effectively clean deposits from the combustion chambers, intake valves, ports, fuel filter, and fuel tank. Unmatched in its cleaning ability in excruciatingly high temperature combustion chamber, BG 44K also does its cleaning during cool down between engine operation. In a recent survey, service managers named BG 44K as the best fuel system cleaner 3-to-1 over any other. This titration test identifies the top fuel cleaners on the market and their ability to remove carbon buildup and fuel varnish deposits from combustion chambers. BG fuel system cleaners are designed to clean accumulated deposits and then to use at each oil service to maintain a clean fuel system. Take a look at these before and after video scope shots. As demonstrated, BG will keep engine components as clean and fully functioning as the day the vehicle left the factory.
Then, we tried these products, which, much to our surprise, delivered on their promise to improve mileage per gallon, giving us 19.6 miles per gallon.
BG's cleaning procedures will return today's engines to the high efficiencies and high performance for which they were designed. BG Products Incorporated, through its dedicated distributor network, supports your facility with a family of fuel system cleaning products and equipment as part of a complete line of BG fuel and fluid automotive maintenance services. For more information on the BG Maintenance Awareness Program, contact your BG representative. BG Products. We drive service. At 30,000 miles, transmission fluid begins to show deterioration as it turns brown in color and begins to oxidize, leaving deposits around all of those moving parts. Slowly and without notice, those actuating parts begin sticking, and they gum up, which also increases heat buildup. Transmission fluid over time stops cleaning and protecting the hundreds of moving parts, and motorists complain of hard shifting, slipping, and shattering. BG Quick Clean for automatic transmissions, part number 106, is a safe and effective cleaning product that will dissolve and suspend the varnish and gums in the valve body, torque converter, pan, filter element, transmission lines, and cooler. The result will be a smoother operating transmission, free of life-shortening deposit buildup. High temperatures speed up fluid deterioration. This causes residues to form on transmission components. Many problems are caused by deposit buildup in the transmission. Several auto manufacturers attribute severe automatic torque converter shutter problems to fluid deterioration. Additionally, motorists may experience transmission slipping or erratic shifting as a direct result of deposit formation in the transmission. BG-ATC Plus, part number 310, contains a concentration of additives that optimize the fluid's performance capabilities by preventing thermal breakdown. It greatly improves oxidation stability, thereby prolonging fluid life and the life of the transmission. Extensive tests by an independent testing organization have proven that BGATC Plus will help correct and prevent transmission shudder and shifting problems. BGATC Plus prevents transmission leaks by keeping seals soft and pliable. It will improve shifting characteristics on all types of automatic transmissions.